Hello everybody, thanks very much for joining us. We are the Ideal Home Show. Home Show. Welcome everybody. This is the Brown Pants edition of the Ideal Home Show. Just yeah, finding your feet. So thank you very much for joining us, those of you that are there. Thank you very much for everyone in chat, and thank you very much for anyone watching us on YouTube.
We've not finished yet. We're still broadcasting.
You are?
Oh, okay. We've not finished. We're still
live now, are we?
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. Night, folks.
I'm shaved and ready.
Right, so let's let you guys know who we all are and what we do and all that sort of good shit, shall we? So, John, do you want to kick off, fella?
I will do. Right. I'm John. I think most people know me probably for being admin on Safer Vapors and General Bastard on there, dishing out forfeits and being an arsehole and being the agent of the star reviewer that is Big J. Yeah, that's about it really, I think. Unless are we doing how long have we been vaping for as well in this bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was weird. I went 50s DJ for a second there with, are we doing that now? I've been vaping for 3 years and generally use Genesis atomizers, though I've been loving velocity drippers and the Vapor Giant, which is fucking awesome for the last few days. Whoever's next, that's about all I've got.
Nice one.
Right, good one. Yeah, it's me then, isn't it? Yeah, well, I'm Rick. I've been vaping about 4 years, I think, after 20 odd, 25 years, 30 years possibly. I'm not going to say how old I am, but of smoking.
Old, just guess.
Older than God's dog.
Fuck off, Craig.
Got a cigarette. I got a cigarette, didn't work, shit, as you know. Probably the usual story of everyone, really. Got a cigarette, started smoking again, got an ego. Juice was shit, so thought I needed something better. Got a Vamo, got an RSST, few rebuildables, and then got some mechs so I could sub home and get a bit more power. I'm an admin on mod showcases and mod making help and advice. I run a little business called Mod Maker, selling modding parts to people who want to tinker in their sheds. That's about it, yeah, that's about it. Now I pretty much just make my own juice mainly. A bit behind these guys on what juice to buy and stuff, but hopefully going to learn a bit on here. And that's me, I think.
Nice one. Nice
So
one.
So how old are you actually then, Rick?
How old am I? 44.
Oh, no.
It's so nice not to be the oldest person.
I'm just here imagining what the future's going to bring looking at you. I did remember, though, I should have said also admin of Artisan. Someone's just picked me up on that. That's totally true as well.
Oh, yeah.
Artisan mod, so.
Plug. Shameless plug.
Fuck it.
Right, Craig, what about you, buddy?
I'm Craig and I'm 47.
Hey, I'm not the oldest then.
I win the internet. I've been vaping for 15 months thereabouts. I'm just spend way too much money on vaping stuff. I really got into it, so I kind of moved through the gears pretty quickly. Yeah, there isn't much else to say really. I think, to be honest, most people are just going to find out what we do as we go through it. So as we talk about things, so I kind of like vaping at anything from 14 watts on a nectar right the way up to 230, 240 watts on Gen 2. So I mean, it's anything in between, depending upon what I want to try out, what I want to experiment with, and what I want to play around with. So yeah, but I smoked for 25 years and then got an Ego 650 and a little CE4, and that was it. Just I stopped there and then. Didn't like cigarettes. Done. That was it. So 25 years. Thank fuck for that. I stopped with myself. Anyway.
Good.
Dean. Everybody knows Dean already. You've got an advantage over us.
Well, I'm 41 years of age, and
Will one of you lot adopt me?
it's so nice not to be old. Yeah, so a lot of people know me from being Vaping Biker and the YouTube reviews and all that sort of malarkey, which has been going pretty reasonable this year. What else? I started, well, I was smoking from like 15 through to 4 or 5 years ago, and then I started vaping on at Legos and what have you from properly back in the day, some nasty stuff. And didn't realise that YouTube exists. That's how on the pulse of technology I am. Yeah, and so ended up having a really bad time. Didn't realise what burnt coils were and all that sort of stuff. So ended up kind of giving up vaping. Boo. And got back into it again kind of last year and got into it in a big way. And I haven't looked back since. Those of you that kind of watch the sort of stuff I do know that I do like my cloudage, but at the same time I'll surprise myself by having a nice gentleman's vape from time to time, which makes me feel a little bit smoother than I actually am.
What's your gentleman's vape? I'm interested now.
Well, the closest thing I've got tonight set up, we'll talk about it in a minute,
Is a sub-tank.
like 45 watts.
You know, I have to say it as well, because I invented the meme. I have to call you a sub-tank wanker.
Oh, good, yes.
Shouldn't it be a pipe if it's a gentleman's vape?
Absolutely.
I've got a sub-tank on it. That'll actually end the world, I think.
I put a pipe stem on the Mako Shorty. That was absolutely the way forward.
That's gentlemanly, that is, definitely.
Isn't it though?
Yeah. I want to see you vaping on it, Dean. Come on, put it on.
Mankiest toy in the world, isn't it?
You're getting this confused with Babe Station again, Rick. Put it on. Go on. Just chuck it on.
Honestly, that must be like colder than death, the vape on that thing, must be.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's a really tight draw through it as well. So fucking, you get some big holes in the Mako Shorty, and it's just, it's not cool. It's not a good look. But yeah, you have to stroke your beard and vape at the same time, and it makes it more gentlemanly.
Yeah.
With a red velvet dressing gown on, of course.
Yeah. So, John, moving swiftly on then, what toys have you got then, mate? What are you vaping on? And
I thought I'd have a collection of toys today.
Oh,
It's
really?
gone to Babe Station again, straight away. I've got everything, basically nearly everything I own has sort of got a rugged look to it, generally because I'm a clumsy twat. But my flask with a Vapor Giant Nano on top, with raspberry mint in it. I sort of have a bit of an addiction to DB at the moment. Yeah, that's it. What's that? That's a 0.95 ohms, 18 watts. Quite like that. I've got the Velocity Dripper that was kindly lent to me. I'll flick through who lent it to me at the same time. With Experiment 1 in. It's probably, I've only had this for 2 days, and it's probably the best dripper I've ever had. Yeah, it's Chris Brown. That's who lent me this from SV. I was looking for one, and he said, "I'll send you one to give it a go." And it's so easy to build on. I won't say. I mean, it's not the most attractive dripper in the world. That's the thing it's got against it, I would say. But the air control on it's fantastic. It's ridiculously easy to build on. And in that is Experiment 1, which is sort of become sort of famous for what it is really, which is sweet corn flavour. Yeah, I don't know what you get from it, Craig. To me, it tastes like what? That was what I was about to say. It tastes of what you expect cereal vapes to taste like, and they don't. That's what I'd say it tastes like. It smells like feet, but it sort of tastes, like cornflakes with too much sugar on, or there was these little I found it out the other day. I think me and you were looking
it
was called Golden Nuggets.
Yeah,
cereal. That was what it reminded me of, that I hadn't had since I was about 12. Yeah. And then the next thing I have, this is the only thing that's not war torn, is my Artisan mod.
Lovely.
My 26-500 Artisan with a tiny next tiny on top.
I'm getting on with the next tiny, is it right?
It's great. It's exactly what they said it was going to be, and people who didn't order it were pissed off about, which is just funny to me. People were surprised it was a small version of the next gen, which made me laugh because, of course, it fucking is.
Yeah, I mean, the name was a bit of a giveaway, really, wasn't it?
But you think so, and the measurements were out. Anybody who read the measurements would have understood exactly what it was. You know, they've knocked 20 mil off the top,
yeah,
and a mil off the capacity. I think it's about 3 now.
Yeah.
But in the RTAs, it just, because it's countersunk, it just disappears basically. So there is and it's got a plastic tank, which is really annoyed everybody for no apparent reason. The people who don't own one, as always. But yeah, I'm really liking it. That I always keep it about, it's about 1 ohm, 16 watts.
Yeah.
And it's got slime in it from Vapor King, which there's sort of 3 or 4 Vapor King flavours that I always go back to. With Billy's juices.
So Rick, what are you on then, mate? What choice you got?
Well, nothing as fancy as you guys, but hoping to catch up with that slowly over time, as the bank balance can't take too much of a bashing. But I've got an SX350J with a sub tank on it. It's been probably 3 years since I've touched anything by Kanga, but my brother-in-law wanted a mod and an ATI he could, you know, stick a pre-built coil on, and I thought I'd get one for myself, and I actually like it. The flavour's good on it. So
you realise, John, that you're going to have to get in touch with Ollie and ask him if he can make an actual sound clip for Sub Tank Wanker now.
Yeah. I think I made a meme. I'll try and find it. I actually made a GIF of it. It's quite good.
Yeah.
I made something and it's quite good, you know.
Yeah, just flash it up.
Yeah.
I actually quite like it. I mean, flavour-wise, it's good. You know, it might be a mainstream cheap tank, but fuck it, it tastes nice. I like it.
I mean, they work. They're just straightforward work, don't they?
I think it
works fine.
I
like
when they
it.
fixed, because they fixed the RDA heads, didn't they?
I actually didn't bother. I just put a stock coil on there and found it dried out a bit, so I ended up putting the rebuildable deck on.
Yeah. Have you got the rebuildable deck with the pin, or the one that where it's the trying to think of what it's called, really? Fuck.
A clamp.
Sort of ring. Does it screw on, or has it got a pin? Because
no, it's a screw. It's just a screw. You wrap it around the screw.
No, sorry. I'm fucking up, Rick. You know when you take off, when you get into the build deck, you know the sort of ring that goes around before you put the top of the chimney on? Is that, have you got a pin, like a retaining pin, or is it the screw-on one?
It's actually got a screw that goes in the side. I've actually found
that's the one I mean. Sorry, that's better, because
it's
before
a screw that goes through the chimney. So it doesn't go through it. It's got a slot in the chimney, and that just tightens onto it.
That's it. Before that, the problem was that the threads were so shonky that when you did it up, because they were obviously everything threaded the same way, it just locked up, and you couldn't.
This is nice and easy. It comes off straight. You know.
The bastard that I found with that on the knee box is the fact that if you slice your leads, you go under the screw head. If you don't cut the sort of leg that's poking out the side of it properly flush, it straight away shorts out on the barrel.
Oh, right. There you go. That was the word I was after. He's nailed it. Barrel. I went with everything there.
So yeah, I'm vaping on that and liking it with some of my homebrew. So again, got some juices coming and stuff, but I make my own. Have done since I started vaping, and I've got a what I've called it Voodoo Brew, but it's just a mixture of peach, strawberry, apple, and a tiny bit of menthol, and a fair bit of sweetener. I like my sweet juices. Next up, I've got a little PWM in a G box with a Goblin. Again, another good little cheap tank, in my opinion. Good flavour. Gets a bit condensed. I don't know if it's condensation or juice that comes out the bottom of it, but it gets a bit soggy underneath.
Like my nan, then.
Huh?
Like my nan.
Yeah.
It's all right. She's dead. She's not offended. It's fine.
If I was American, I'd say like your mum, but but no, I won't. But yeah, Goblin's cool. Good. I've got to say thanks to Mark McManus. Actually, I think he's around because he put me onto this concentrate I got today, and it's a mango yogurt. And I mixed it up, and it's lovely. It's like mango yogurt. Great. So,
I found the one thing I found with the Goblin Mini, and it was quite a few of the others as well, like the orchids and things like that. was if you could keep the wick away from the actual hole. So even if there was anything near that hole, then it would start to go after a bit. But like you say, the condensation just drops down because it's quite high wattage. So it just sinks. After you've finished your vape and you've pulled on it, then it just drops down.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of a pig to wick up, a little bit. I mean, you just got to know you've got to cut your cotton. I cut it at an angle, so there's just really half the amount going down into in there, so it can wick through enough. Yeah. But I like it. Flavoursome. Last up, a little Derringer on an ice stick not copy, an ice stick style chip in a mod that I made. Sorry. And
do you find the Derringer spits?
Sorry.
You find the Derringer spits?
No, you said about this before. I don't really. No, I mean, I've got a longer drip tip on it.
You'll have to send me a couple of shots of your build or something, Rick, because every time my friend's shop, he uses Derringers to taste with, and I mean, you get a taste because you have to spit it out when you pick the thing up. You really do. I don't get the Derringer. It's one of those things that it was sort of in the zeitgeist about, what was that, about 4 months ago, something like that, where everybody Derringer, and they had the problem with the spinning post. And
yeah, I mean, that's still there. I mean, a little bit on this one. I think this is a 1. Is it a 1.2 that they brought out, the new one? Yeah, I got one of those, and it still span a little bit. You got to get a grip on the base and tighten up the screw underneath to screw it in place. But I don't get spit back. No, I mean, I've got a longer drip tip on it, so maybe the angle, I get the occasional spit back, but no, I mean, flavour's great on it. I love it. I mean, you can give me all these vortex, whatever they're called, these blue air holes that's supposed to spin the air around. They do fuck all.
No one tells the air. That's the problem. Self-aware air.
A comparison. I mean, I did exactly the same build the other day on a little Royal Hunter Mini, and this is supposed to have this special funky airflow that's meant to change the world, and it's not as good. It's not as good. So give me a couple of holes next to a coil and I'm happy, to be honest.
I think I've got one of the low pros that Angsty sent me over, and that really suffered from it. But I think it's just a height thing, and the lower down that you go with the top of the chamber and the actual at itself, you have to kind of move the coils even further towards the airflow until it's almost meeting it. It's right next to it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So it pushes it away from having to go up and round the top. So if the coil's sitting in the middle or close to the middle, then it's just got free rein just to throw whatever it's got in the coil straight up. So
yeah, I mean, I stick them pretty close to there. I mean, I don't know if you can. Well, not that close though. In the middle, really. I don't know if you can see that, but that's just in the middle. Yeah. But I don't get a bit back from that. I don't vape it super high though. I mean, I've got it at 25 watts.
No, that'd be about where I vape it. So I don't know what it is, to be honest, Rick.
But no, I'm a big fan of it. Big fan of these Derringers.
I find if you get the wicking nice and snug in there rather than kind of having too much looseness, as long as it's snug, that reduces spit back on a lot of these shorter jobbies as well.
Oh, fair enough. It's probably because I don't really use drippers that much, so when I pick one up, if it does something I'm not expecting, I just think, I can't be asked.
Yeah, it's a bit of a ball ache, but I don't think this is why I was quite happy with the Pro Tank and the Goblin. I actually got the flavour that I got from the Derringer with those tanks. So I'm quite happy to be a tank wanker at the moment. For now.
We'll get you a T-shirt.
Yeah, cheers, mate. So who's up? Dean? Oh no, Craig.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Craig. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, at the moment. I'm on the E-Fusion with the Origeni, the 6mm Origeni, and the Crisp Mon.
With a nicely charged battery, I hope.
This fucking thing drains faster than greased lightning. It really does. It's if you're going to get something which has got a DNA 200 in it, either go. Just go for 18650s and be done with it. Because I mean, for a box this size, it just charges through it.
I completely agree with that.
Now I'm vaping it at 36 watts, and I'll pick up another DNA 40 with either a 26650 or a dual in it, and it lasts so much longer. It just keeps on going and keeps on going and keeps going.
That's what I keep saying to people, Craig. harping on about getting DNAs and getting 200 watts out of it. Unless you're going to vape at 200 watts, you're better off vape time wise going for a pair of 18650s for the same size of cell.
Yeah.
Well, a comparable cell to two 18650s that I've built with my DNA is only 1050 mAh.
Yeah.
Which is about half the amount of vape time that a pair of 3000 mAh 18650s vape at. So.
Yeah. So the other bits of gear I've got on here, then I've got a Stig Helix V3 with a Hurricane in it and another.
I think they're great now with the reduced size. I think it's just it's fantastic. Really.
Yeah, they've done. I mean, this thing's been.
Is that the one I saw at Vape Fest? Great.
Yeah. I'm kind of in love with the thing. Really, it's been really, really good, and I hold on to it really tightly because it weighs quite a lot, and I dread sort of dropping the thing. So, and then,
what have you got inside that? Sorry, what have you got inside?
Oh, yeah. I've got Sloth from DB Liquids in the Origin.
Yeah, sorry, it was the Origin. Yeah, I like the Origin. It's just that big tank still looks like a bit of sequin remnant from a remnant shop.
Yeah.
a remnant shop. I
was trying to think. I couldn't think. Well, it's got to be the remnants of making sequins that used to kind of. If you were a bit of a div in art class like me, they'd give you bits of that and tell you to stick it to paper. It just reminds me that somebody went out bang it on this tank. That'd be
what kind of school was it, John?
I don't know, but
Are you sure it wasn't fuzzy felt?
It was a one-on-one.
Yeah. You didn't get a bus by any chance, did you?
I did, yeah. The windows were strawberry flavoured.
No, but I like it on that because it's kind of, I like the techie kind of feel to things. You know, it works well. But,
I think for the size, because the 3mm tank just runs out in, because it just blows through juice.
Yeah,
totally agree.
And then in that one, I have got Green Vape's Lemon Cake. I think I've got on the Helix. And I've got and I've got the Black Rose with a nectar on top, which has got Wooties number 21 custard in it, which is different. It's one of those flavours that I'm really not sure what it is about it, but I find it quite nice. But it's a slightly higher neck, which is a bit of a shame because they only have I think they have 0.5 or 0, so I had to put 0.5 in it because I do like a bit of neck. Otherwise, I just don't find any enjoyment to it. So I end up nicking out on it a little bit. But,
I found that the woody stuff tends to have quite a sort of a throat hit anyway.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of bite to it. But I don't mind it really because not long ago I was vaping on pretty much Max VG all the time, and then I got some bottles from France. I can't remember what they were now, and they were 60/40, but the flavours were just beautiful. So I thought I'm going to start going back to having 50/50 and 60/40 PG in some cases, but only vaping it like 14-15 watts. And it's been quite nice, really. I'm kind of enjoying that change. I'm sitting there and just banging at VG as hard as I can to actually getting a bit of throat hit and pacing myself a little bit more. But that's been brilliant, that is. And thanks to Artisan for taking care of it as well and giving it a service recently. So thank you very much, Richard.
I do think that Lazat. I've got Wooties, Lazat, and then that's what it's called, isn't it? Yeah. And then Humble Doodle was the big letdown for me because Lazat's really good. It tastes like Bimto or Ribena or something like that. And then Humble Doodle's just every single cinnamon cookie anyone's ever made ever.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Capella or something like that. It's one thing, like cinnamon cookie, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I like Lazat a little bit, but I mean the 21 custard I really like. But like you say, the other flavours I've tried them for a bit, and then I'll vape on it for like 10-15 minutes on one of the others, and it'll suddenly be like, I'm not really enjoying this that much. It's dropped away, or I've just the flavour just drops. So just because it's harsh, it doesn't quite go. But, I've got a few other bits as well that I'll end up doing different shit over the days because I do like buying lots of crap. I'm a bit like Nigel in that regard. It's kind of I've not got to like 9 or 10 in axes yet, but it does get a bit serious. So. So, yeah, Dean, you've got many a toy there. What are you on?
Well, yeah. I couldn't make my mind up, so.
He's got like a library.
Oh, God, this is an hour and a half. Right,
He's got a catalogue system, I think, on his computer just to work out where he's left that mod.
Being organised.
Yeah, if anybody needs to go for a pee right now, we'll give you about a minute just to go and empty a little bit, so you've got enough room for the next 20 minutes. You'll be fine.
Now what have I got? I've got the new OBS Cryos tank, which is this white affair, which is a one of their new sub tank, and their previous tank I thought was pretty decent, and it kind of didn't really get much love in the big wide world, and I'm not sure why. But they sent me this one, so I've been road testing this for like the last 24 hours, and I'm really enjoying it. It's actually really quite a decent vape.
Who makes that one, do you know?
OBS.
OBS.
Yeah, and that's on top of the Evic Mini VTC Mini thing, which I've had and I've been meaning to review for a while, but I can't make my mind up. I really can't. I did the software upgrade, and it just. I think you've got to have a very specific sort of coil resistance to actually get the full 75 watts, and I keep getting bored trying to figure it all out. So that's still in the queue waiting to be looked at. But it's all right. And at the end of the day, I don't really have many white mods, so that's it looks pretty. So that's been kicking over with PB&J Stash.
Still trying to get Stash over here. Getting close.
All right. So that's going well. What else have I got? I've got the awesome Revolver from Darwin.
Pretty one.
They are pretty.
I am waiting. I'm chatting with Eddie and trying to twist his arm.
Yeah, I love this so much. I think it's brilliant. I've got my Bay City Vapor button from a Surf Rider on it with the velocity running at a reasonably low coil. So totally what But it's nice. It's a really enjoyable vape. It does kind of go to a fair old amount. But yeah, I mean, much like John was saying, when it comes to the velocity, I just fucking love it.
It's great. I was really shocked at, to be honest, how good it was. And my favourite thing about it is so simple. I can't believe no one did it, which is the notch in the top cap and the base, just so your air doesn't slip round.
Yeah, I believe that the ones that you buy straight from the guys now have a notch either side, so you don't have to fanny around trying to figure out which.
Oh right, either side. Yeah, that's even better.
I don't know if that's going to be the last batch though, is it? Because word, has it that there might be something new in the pipeline. I don't know anything.
No idea. I mean, they're so popular at the minute. They're still. You can't get them for love nor money in the UK still. So I don't know.
We'll have to beg on the show. Send me a velocity. For no reason.
That's up for the velocity, man.
But yeah, so that's I'm enjoying this setup a lot, and it just makes me so happy. But because this is the closest thing I've got to kind of like high-endy, this is my first sort of stabilised wood. It's so sexy. Other than rubbing it against my nipples of an evening. When I do vape it, I won't take it to work and all that sort of stuff. It just stays in the house and gets kind of a little bit of love at home.
What's in that, Dean? Is that like a mechanical or?
Yes, yeah, it's a full mech in there.
A series or parallel?
Series.
Yeah, all good.
18650 as well, so it's the bigger of the two rather than the 18500 that he does. But no, I think it's fucking. It feels chunky and heavy and just everything that a mod should feel like, in my opinion.
Yeah, I prefer on the Revolver. Just quickly, I was going to say because he's got the 18650 on the 18500, and I do think the 18500 is the one out of the two, just because the way your thumb sits on the top of it.
Yeah, well, I mean that kind of sits there okay anyway. That's a.
Yeah, you've got big hands.
Well, I'm a big boy, Craig.
I always think that, Craig. Whenever I see people doing like a hand check with something, I can't remember who got something the other day. Oh, that was it. It was the rail box. Damien had got a new one. I just thought they'd made it smaller because I had a rail box and it's just too big. And it wasn't. Just Damien's got a big hand. And I thought, oh, right, okay. Just feel a little bit more inadequate. Thanks, man.
But you see a lot of mods that, I mean, the knee box thing, this AnyBox business, what have I done with it? It's up there. It looks massive on their promo shots before it came out, but it's actually really not that big at all. Which is you know, it's just one of those things, isn't it? But no, that's a huge favourite of mine. Then I'm going on the M Vapes 26650 30ml bottle squonker, full neck, and that's a beast with the Tugboat V2 that I put a bottom feeder pin in. And,
at least if you had a guinea pig and it passed away, you're sorted, aren't you? No basket needed. Just slide it in, little window.
Todd's just said in chat, by the way, that Velocity is available at Saru Mods, and he says there are 22 left. So there are Velocity.
Thanks. So everybody now go and buy those, so I can't when the show's finished. That'd be great.
Yeah, sorry about that, John. I should have really said that.
Thanks for that.
Can somebody in chat please buy John one? Right.
Yeah, don't charge me for it.
that'd be nice. You know, that'd do it really. You know, but yeah. That'd be good.
I need a bottom feeding one.
Who was I talking to about the bottom feeding one earlier? Can't remember. And they said you almost feel like you don't need it because there's quite a well on it, isn't there?
Oh God, yeah.
So it almost felt that buying the bottom feeding kit, it just felt like just an extra thing. I kind of get that, I suppose.
Yeah,
I'm not really a squonker. I've got one at the moment on a loan, and you probably know what it is more than I will. One of those.
Is that a Vape Armo one, or is that?
It's a Del Boy will know what it is.
Go on, Jamie. Come on. No.
And I've got a little 16mm dripper and a mesh dripper. I just don't. I can't be bothered to squonk. Just to fill it up.
The little one. I had the little Desmo RDA on another Vape that I had. The wife stolen now, and that is just the biggest whore in the world to put coils in, and I didn't get as great a squonking experience as I get from something like that. You know, it was almost a point of thinking, well, when I got it, I wanted to be able to build low. I did want the ability to go a bit cloudy if I wanted to.
I've got an answer to what that box is. A Vape?
Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas.
So yeah, so I wanted to be able to go a bit cloudy, and I knew that a mech squonker would do it, and then that's when Mata M Vapes kind of came into my peripheral and with these mech boxes, and I've got the dual 18650 as well, which I think is the tits. Oh, actually, that's got the Vortis on it, and I keep forgetting to review that. So yeah, fuck me. Just ever so quickly, I've got the Monster V3, which I'm actually. That is a weird fucking tank, by the way.
Yeah, I've got one, and it's.
I can't make my mind. I really enjoy using it, but it makes me feel a little bit wrong that I enjoy it because the airflow is a bit funky. But I like it. It just works. So
I think on that one, I always found it was just a K-form with an extra 4 watts. That's what I thought it was. I mean, you could probably make the thing really scream with quite a lot. You know, quite high wattage, but the way I kind of vape and the cadence that I've got, it just didn't seem to suit.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, even with the kind of the chuff kit and the wide bore kit on it, you're still limited to you get sort of a slightly wider positive pin. You're still limited to about 3.25 mil going up the middle for your air. So having a dirty great sort of wide bore drip tip on the top of it, that doesn't really achieve anything because you're trying to suck through a lot more air than is actually going through the hole. Yeah. But I mean I'm going to be playing around with that for a little bit more because I was meant to review it last weekend, but I'm going to have a dick about with it and get some more. And then just finally, I've got my Switch mod that looks like a blotter that your granny would take to the bingo. Which
House.
I'm chuffed. And I think when I saw your review of that, I thought, yeah, I know who said it looked like a dobber from the bingo. I fucking said it. I think we really picked up stuff off each other, don't they? Because something just says, oh, it looks like this. Oh, it's the worst. Do you know, the worst thing that people can do to you sometimes is pollute your mind about an e-liquid. Because you'll go, yeah, I quite like it, and then somebody will say something that rings home, and that just rings true. Says something like, oh, I think it tastes like the smell of plasticine, and then you take a vape later on and go, fucking arsehole.
Yeah.
Donut flavours. Yeah. Instantly, it's like Play-Doh. Damn it.
My wife did exactly the same. I've been trying to make a chocolate pear flavour for a while, and I started tasting it. It hadn't steeped, but I gave him a couple of goes and thought, well, actually, this doesn't taste too bad. This could be kind of, not a million miles away from where I want to take it. And I took it downstairs. I wanged it in her mouth and said something like that. And she had a taste, and she said it tastes like chocolate limes. Those like boiled sweets, the lime ones with the chocolate, which obviously the very next vape, fuck me, of course it's chocolate limes, but that I didn't understand because there's no lime in it. What the fuck? So easily confused, but yeah. So yeah, polluting your mind, not cool. Not cool.
Shall we have a look at the news, or have you got more? Is that at the end of the Dean?
Oh, I've got a fuck ton more.
I want to hear about this next.
We won't have anything to talk about next week. Going on.
Yeah, go for it. News up.
No.
Just before you go, look.
Oh,
I stuck one of these on, Dean. I found that for you, so I'm having a little gentleman vape.
Cool.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, no, there was something Rick wanted to say.
So John, you've got this next to me then. What's
we're on first. I'll just unscrew it actually. I'll try and think. Do you know what the stupid thing was that I will admit that I'm a numbnuts because I actually didn't bring the next gen into my lovely spare room with granny decor, which is great. So I was trying to think what I can show it against that people will know as a reference. I know what I'll do. I'll compare it to an Inax because people know how big an Inax is. They haven't really changed. Whoops. Let me just get level. That's the next gen, just there. The next tinny, sorry. And yeah, I think it's great, to be honest. And I know they got some negative feedback, Vapeware, for the way they did the list. It was sort of you had to buy blind, effectively, and say they put up an interest thread and said X1 on this thread if you're interested in it, even if you haven't seen it. And then a couple of days later, they said anybody who put an X1 on that list is on the list for trusting us, which was, I mean, really, it's a marketing ploy. It's not. They're not trying to be evil. It's just a way of building up the suspense on a new atom.
Same with the Twisted Messes RDA.
Yeah, and I think it worked. And to be honest, I'm not disappointed. The machining's great. It's slightly better than the next gen. I'd say there was nothing wrong with the next gen. I know a couple of people had a problem with swarf or something like that, but I had no problem. Delivered clean, came from Greece in 4 days, something like that. And it does exactly what it says in the tin. I mean, it wicks brilliantly. And if you've used any of those, if you've been to gennies, and I know most people aren't because they can be a pain in the arse. It's a centre wick Jenny.
Yeah.
And it works.
So are you gonna do an update to your wicking tutorial thing that you did? Because the sizes are a bit different now, aren't they?
I will do. A lot of people are using. I've put a wicking wick in it again, the same as I did on the first one. And there's a lot. People are on this next list that's come up now, the open sort of list. And they're not shipped yet. So if I get time at the weekend, I might do it. To be honest, there was a fail in the way I did it. With I put the comment on each picture on how to do it, which I thought was quite clever at the time. It was actually dumb as hell. I should have made it a file and should have made it an Adobe file or something and uploaded it to SV, so that it was easy to read once you're in it, but then I found I was tagging people for the last 6 months how to build.
I did try and look for it, and I just couldn't find it. I know that you
always. I mean, I've got it saved on my phone, so anybody who asks me, I can always just jump to it. I find that easy now because there's a few things like the Papa's Wick on the Vapor Giant that I just save so I can tag people, so I don't have to search.
Why don't you stick a file on our Facebook group?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll dual do it then. I'll put one on ours. Yeah. I'll put it on SV as well, just so everyone's got it.
Cool.
So yeah, if anyone out there is not on our Facebook group, go and find it.
Yeah,
like the Ideal Home Show.
Good idea. So I don't know. Is anybody else? I mean, I think the thing is, I don't have a hell of a lot to say about the next gen because it does what I said I thought it would, and it's a small version of the next gen. That's exactly what it is, and it works for me because I've got a mod that it looks great on. So
yeah, I mean, just the way with it dropping, but I do like it with the next gen on it anyway on the Odyssey anyway, just because of the way it sits, but.
I think everything looks quite good on the RTAs, to be honest. Anything I've stuck on it, I just think it fucking looks brilliant.
You dare stick a sub tank on that thing or else?
I think I have once, but I did it under the cover of darkness.
You realise Richard's probably thinking, no, you're not having you as an admin anymore after doing that.
Yeah, but I did it. No one was watching. It was fine.
So yeah, Dean, we've both got one this last few weeks, didn't we? We've both got the Sarah.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I've just stuck it on my Limitless because it's got a nice protruding 510.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a funny fucking thing. To be fair, in my opinion, I'll put a drip tip on the end of there as well, just because I'm delicate and I don't want my tash being caught in these little air holes every 5 minutes.
Right.
But yeah, you've got all those air holes on the top, all around the outside, which I don't know if they do a great deal. You've got the under airflow or the under coil business as well, and obviously it's a ceramic top for it. So I've not reviewed it yet because like other things, I'm not overly sure about it because, like I say, that just seems like, even for me, that seems like excessive air on the top for no real benefit.
Yeah, I did a little trick on mine. What I did was I actually went and put I got an O-ring and made it so that the O-ring went down each of the holes.
Ah.
So 2 of the holes on each side are covered and 2 were open. So it means at least when I put it on the actual name side above the coil, and then it points the actual airflow down onto the coils, because the other ones don't do a thing. So
yeah, sneaky.
I did it on that one, and I did it on I've got the white one and the black one.
Yeah.
But there was something very interesting that happened between the black and the white one. If people are going to go out and buy these things, I think they need to be aware of this a little bit, which is the black one has got the air hole goes just underneath the coil. I don't know if you can see that. I'll just zoom in a second. Hold on a sec. Somewhere there. You might see this, but you'll see there that the air hole goes underneath where the coil is, effectively.
Yeah.
Okay, you see that. Now on the white one, look what they did.
Oh.
They offset it, so there are actually those things in the base, which means when you go on to do your coiling, obviously the big problem is, where do you put the wick, which is leading next to the negative leg?
Well, that's odd.
That looks a bit complicated.
So, I mean, if you're going to buy one, then make sure you open the box up and check to make sure that you've got one where it isn't like that. So, because that's a pain in the fucking arse to deal with. That is, you end up.
Doesn't look right at all, does it?
It's really strange, but it also looks like it should come out. It looks like that deck at the bottom there should come out, because when you can take the positive pin out the bottom,
yeah,
that then lets the positive pin at the top come out, and it kind of unsticks. There's some kind of glue is holding it in as well, or there's something in there that's kind of surrounding that pin. Then when you take it out, the only way that you can put it back in is if you look closely, it's hexagonal. So you end up not being able to put the pin any other angle other than 60 degrees each time.
Mm.
So even if you did move, or were able to move the pins at the bottom, the negative posts, you can't change the pin in the middle.
Yeah, that one's odd. That's not right.
So yeah, so make sure that if you are buying one, just have a look to make sure that you're not getting one that looks like that, and you're getting one where it's coming out of the side.
Are you sending that back then, Craig?
No, I'm probably just going to end up throwing it somebody and saying, there you go, and I'll wick it and wire it as best as I can.
Yeah.
Just give it to somebody. So.
Very good of you.
But yeah, I end up giving a lot of stuff away. So I mean, it's just I get people want things, and it makes sense. I'm not using it, so we just throw it away basically. But I like it. I love the black one, but I wanted the white one to work because I wanted to stick it on the castigator door, and I wanted the black and white to do it. But the only other bit I found was that the top caps sometimes don't sit level. So when you put them on, you can't get it dead flat, so that the bottom is kind of you can see a gap between the top cap and the deck.
That's never something. Well.
But I'm guessing that I think they made 7 or 8 different colours altogether, didn't they? I think.
Yeah.
There's quite a few different colours of this that they make, so I'm wondering whether it's just a manufacturing thing with certain ones, but make sure if you do buy one just to check it out. Otherwise, you could end up with one that doesn't sit straight and it's got holes in the wrong place.
Yeah, that doesn't seem too clever at all. No, I mean I've got my particularly pimp gold band at the bottom of it, which clearly it actually suits the Limitless quite nicely. But no, yeah, I'm sure. I'm kind of over like a bottom fed air. Do you know what I mean? Air coming through the base directly to the coils. It just doesn't excite me. It just makes the top of your mods manky with condensation and everything else. So
I don't mind it really. It's just
yeah.
I think it's horses for courses, isn't it? Because some people, I'm not bothered either way. I just want to know what the vape's like from it. I don't really care. Judge it on a case by case. But I know some people just side the hate and they love it coming from the bottom.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with those ones where it does come from there, where you've got the deck is, the base is effectively where the airflow comes straight in, and next to the 510 is, no matter what you do, even if you don't overdrip it, what will happen is that you'll take a vape, the coil will still be warm, it'll still be giving off vapor, and then it drops, and the condensation eventually builds up so much on your 510 that it just drowns. So you need kind of, one of the little heat sink things that you can get and put it on that just so you protect your 510 a little bit. And,
what else? I was wondering what else have we got in the news?
Oh God!
From who? We got surely something from Rick.
Well, Dean's got a knee box, haven't you, Dean? So I mean, and then we've got Rick's got something.
Yeah, just
something. Yeah, do you want to do it, Dean, first?
Yeah, go on then. Just a super quick one. Like I say, I mean, my review of this is up, but I love it. I think it's great. It's a fantastic thing. As long as there's 2 main things if you haven't seen the review. First of all, around that battery, as your father, the paint kind of clicks off there not quite easily, which is a bit of a pain in the cock. I managed to chip a little bit off the button, which I thought was just weird.
Oh.
And that didn't drop. I've actually been looking after this. But yeah, so that was a bit odd. But the main thing that's really fucking annoying about this, now bearing in mind that I like using it with the stock SSOCC, whatever that stands for, coils, the rebuildable, because you put the coil in at the bottom, if I just unscrew that quickly, because the coil goes into that section there, as that coil there is, you put the rebuildable in there, and you've got your build in it, and you want to check your resistance, or you want to dry burn your coil, so you can snug it up nicely. Well, how's that going to happen then? You can't put it in anything.
Because does it not fit in the sub tank?
Yes, no, it'll fit in the sub tank.
You have to have a sub tank deck basically next. So you have to buy a sub tank so you can do that.
Yeah. Which sucks balls, but
Subtack wanker.
but yeah, that's it. Just really annoys the fuck out of me because that's just really bad plan. It's brilliant that you've got the rebuildable coil in the pack. That's superb. But the very fact that you can't actually do anything fucking with it safely is just a bit gay. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it, and that annoys me.
Saying that, I haven't seen I've yet to see a bad review of it.
No, I mean that is me being picky on it because with coils in, I fucking love it. I think it's absolutely superb.
But I think that's what you're. Yeah, I think that I know Big J does their pros and cons and always looks for the cons in things like the Vape Giant. I love it, but there are things on it that they're stupid. Well, it being 23 mils a pain in the arse, and the grub screws to change the airflow. It's not like you're going to be down the pub and go, oh, has anybody got a jeweler's screwdriver? I just fancy a bit more air.
Yeah.
That's just fucking ludicrous.
Aye, it is, but you know, for what it is, I think it's a 10 mil means that if you drop it, if you go out a night out on the piss, then you're not going to, you know, the tank's not going to break off your mod, and you're going to knacker up your 510. And there's not many things for it to go wrong. Some people have said about leakage with them, but I've never had any leakage. I imagine the only places it can leak is if you've got a bad O-ring somewhere. But no, for what it is, it's not very heavy. You can throw it in your pocket, in your jeans or whatever else. Go out, get royally fucked up on the beer, and you're not gonna upset your mod, which is, you know, that's all good in my book. And it's great if you don't want to get messy and just want to take it to work.
Excellent.
Yeah, somebody just mentioned self-aware coils again, so I think, John, do you want to mention what a self-aware coil is?
Just what? Okay, for the people in chat, what's a self-aware coil? A self-aware coil is a coil that would use, say, in an Aspire Nautilus, and you put it in a new tank, and you would somehow get different flavour or vapour from it, which is impossible. There's no such thing. But or if there could be, but no one's letting me into it, because every time anybody mentions, what is that new the tank?
Oh, the kabuki.
Kabuki, that somehow knows that it's, well, the coil, you pop it in, it knows it's in a kabuki tank, and it instantly improves the flavour and vapour and general saturation. It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. Even whatever you do with the airflow ring, the hole through the middle of the coil is the same size. It doesn't make any difference. You could have a 5-inch hole in the bottom. It doesn't make any difference. If there's a 2.5 mil hole through the centre of the coil, that's all you're getting. That's it. Done.
That's the self-aware coil.
Right, yeah. Bro science by the sounds of it.
Yeah, so Rick...
Well, I just very quickly, my lovely friend and admin on our groups, Paul Taylor, popped in the other day and he bought me a bottle of I Love Donuts. And I just want to ask your opinion, really, lads. You obviously know a bit more about juice than me, but I think this is lacking in flavour, personally.
I have heard it's piss, I will admit. Somebody sent me a message saying they really concentrated on the packaging. That was.
No, it looks nice. I mean, it does sort of taste bakey.
But doesn't it come in it comes in a fancy box, doesn't it?
I don't know. He just gave me.
Yeah, there's like originally it comes with a box that says sort of "I love donuts" down the box.
See, looking at it, it's sort of pink as well. I don't know what's making it pink, but it tastes bakey. But it's just, I don't know whether it's my taste buds or not. But I like a really sweet vape, and I don't know whether it's me or whether this is actually all right or not.
I've not heard anything good about it.
No, I mean, at the moment I looked at the box and my mind put the letter Y straight in it, so it made it look like I loved yo nuts.
That's what you used to write in telephone boxes, isn't it, in the 90s, Craig?
Yeah.
It's coming back to you.
It'd probably be nice mixed with a fruit or something. You know, I'll probably end up chucking some blackberry in it or blackcurrant or something.
But that's the kind of thing. But that's the same approach as when you get a mod and immediately you have to like start changing the way that it works. It's kind of like, I've got a juice. And
I don't like to waste it. I don't like wasting things.
Just put menthol in it. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. If you put menthol in it,
and some sweetener, a bit of extra sweetener. Just some feedback for whoever made it. Who is it? Mad Hatter Juices. Little bit more sweetener, and that'd be a bit better.
And a load of menthol.
Yeah, and 3% menthol.
Yeah, bang the lot in. Maybe some eucalyptus just to give it a bit of a push. Fine.
That's like buying an RDA and then somebody saying it's really good if you just drill a massive hole in it. Okay.
So you had to do that years ago, didn't you? I mean, the first stripper I got a little IGO L about 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
I remember drilling an IGO L, yeah.
1 mil. Drilling through that as well, really hard work. But
it's even harder. If you've got a Hellfire dripper, you've got to get a really good drill bit.
Yeah.
You've got something, haven't you, Craig? You've got a nice juice to test, haven't you, to tell us about? Or...
What's that? Sorry, say again, Rick.
So you've got a juice to talk about, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, I mean we've touched on it really, which was experiment 1. So I mean it's kind of.
Oh, sorry.
I think John's feelings on it were I mean, mine pretty much echo it really, but it does taste. I mean, immediately I do get cornflakes, but like you say, it's kind of like all of a sudden it's like, here you go, here's a load of sugar.
Yeah, it's not, but it's not sweet corn though. Do you get? I don't get like a can of Big Green Giant kind of smell from it. No,
it doesn't have that at all, does it? It's just.
No. I wonder if it's sort of creamed corn because I've never even tried that. So.
I've not tried that either. Now. We're going to have to go and buy tins of creamed corn now just to see whether it's
the Ohms guys are in chat. Send us some creamed corn.
Yeah. Whoever sends a tin of creamed corn in first, right? So whoever it is in here, I'll send them 100 ml of Vaping King that I've got.
We used to own you. Send us some creamed corn.
Yeah. But the other bit that it did, and God, this fucks me off no end. There was one other juice did this as well, and it was the Vape Kitchen Bad Mother Custard. And it was, I got through perhaps about half a bottle, a third of a bottle, and this is what the coils became, the wicks became.
They are, it is bad.
Oh.
It's kind of, like, just zoom in a minute.
Gnarly.
It's really, really, really unpleasant.
I've got through about 3 ml on mine, and they're not that bad, but they get.
Yeah, I mean, they're just great. It tastes all right. But
how low have you got that though? I think mine's at about 0.5. So.
I'm about the same.
Oh really?
Does that come from? Does that blackness and you see all the carbon build up and stuff? Is that actually from sweetness, or is it? You hear about these clean juices and stuff. I mean, is it sweetener? Or...
I think it's sweetener. That's what I get. If it's Gungy coils, it's generally sweetener, or because I like tobacco vapes as well, and anything that's a steep, even if you're putting it through Christ knows how many microscreens, you still end up the black coils in it. But it's nice. But the cleanest ones are probably El Toro that you can get, where they've really. They defined how you do tobaccos, really. El Toro.
Stash.
Yeah, we've got to get it. We've got to get it over it. Whoever's
some of that.
if anybody's listening, work harder to get Stash over here because it just kills it. That stuff does. I think Nigel's tried it as well, and he got through the PB and jam, and he said, "I can't taste much of the jam side of it," but he said, "I
tried. Weirdly, I tried PB and J in Foo's billet box outside a bar in New York. That's how I tried PB&J. That's the best way, actually. He said, "Do you want to try it?" And I said, "Yeah, where are you?" And he said, "New York." And I thought I'd just nip over, see what it's like. Get a full
taste some of Foo's juice.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, just outside a bar in New York. He said it was his mom.
So, yeah, the other thing we just wanted to touch on quickly was just the e-fusion. But again, kind of gone through it. These are really well made. Lost Vape I think they do a pretty good job with all of these ones. They're nice. They just look quite pleasant. They're pretty straightforward. What it feels like to me is it feels a little bit like the rail box, the same kind of angular. The way you grip onto it is just that little bit wide, so you can't quite get your finger around the front side of it. So it ends up being a little bit uncomfortable, and you have to fire it a little bit differently. I thumb fire this one. These, if I was going for one though, I just think, go straight for an E-square. Just save yourself the money. If you're not vaping above 40 watts, just take the E-square instantly. But it's good, but the batteries are killing me. And the other thing that happened, leading handily on to the next bit, is when this arrived, the batteries were dead, to the point where you put the USB in it and it just sat there and stared you in the face and didn't do a single thing. It wouldn't pick up a charge at all. So I had to get the e-scribe software, had to go through and learn how to do the recovery charge for it. And it's a pain, and I'm not sure how far down the lipos actually got, and I don't know if it was causing damage to the lipos, because I think Rick will, he's looking at something for later on, or going to go into another show, is just what happens with 18650s and lipos and charges and things like that. And it's dangerous sending these things over. And the other bit that was kind of critical was you had to program in what the batteries were, because Lost Vape didn't program in the specifications of the batteries. So you had to put in the 1300 mAh, you had to tell it everything about it, be able to use the thing before you could do the recovery charge.
Can you get to the? Someone's just asked in chat, Craig. Can you get to the battery?
No.
You can't.
Not easily, no, without actually pulling the carbon fibre off. I think.
That's it. I mean, that's the point, isn't it? And the other thing is, the point is, you shouldn't fucking have to.
No.
Do you think that the fact that earlier on you said about the battery life was horseshit? Do you think you've got some dead cells in there? Does that happen with lipos?
I am unsure.
When you put it on the e-scribe, did it tell you the voltage of each of the cells?
It told me that it was low, and that was it. That's all I could tell you. That was the problem. Is that you kind of get the device, and the first thing that you do when it won't charge or it won't do anything is you panic. And I'm no different in that regard. Even having sat down and watched Nick from Evolve and Mast and Eric and all the other people do all these things with lipos, you still sit there and as a beginner user especially, you're going to be shitting your pants thinking, what have they done? They've gone into this. And this came over from Spain. I had to get this from Spain. And you're not taking it all in. You're not sitting there and looking through it and steadily and calmly going through it. You're just thinking to yourself, this is fucked. So for people who, if you're selling things, when you're selling the chips, program the fucking things before you send them out. At least make sure it's got a holding charge inside the lipo. In fact, why not put something up that says what is the actual specification and the manufacturer of the lipo, so it means that you've got some kind of support for it.
But why hasn't it got some sort of panel you can take off there and swap the lipo out?
Because I think there are two schools when it comes to lipos, which are, I think Maston and Angsty are kind of in the school that you should be able to get to the lipos because you want to be able to see what they're doing, you want to be able to understand what's going on. Now, I can kind of get that from the point of view of they know what they're doing. Mast knows a hell of a lot about, what he's doing with hardware and how to look after it and maintain it, what not to poke. And Angsty by default, he'll get in touch with Mast and he'll say, I've got something that looks like it's not right. But if you're a new vapor and you can open up the side and you see a nice soft squidgy package, or even if it's got the hard case on it, you stick a screwdriver in it for some stupid reason.
It's natural selection, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you could let Darwin just have his way and say, there you go, Darwin, you can have him now.
Yeah, we let people take apart plugs. It's
yeah,
fine.
I mean, vaping's full of those kind of people anyway, and it is true that...
Don't hold a firework and light it.
Yeah.
Don't put a screwdriver in squidgy batteries.
Yeah, but no matter how many times you tell people not to do it, and even if you make it something that's covered, people will always find a way of being stupid, and somebody will say, I'm going to take it off and have a go at it.
Well, I just wonder if that makes it a disposable mod, because they've only got a limited lifespan, batteries. I think LiPo is more limited than anything else.
I think a LiPo goes for around about 300 to 500 charges thereabouts.
I think we all know, really, don't we? Anyway, because everyone's got mobile phones, so they've got a limited lifespan because from yourself.
You could get a new cell for your phone, though, couldn't you?
Yeah, but you can't do it. Yes, the same, I suppose. Yeah, if they had some sort of support, maybe you could send it off and get it replaced. Because I wouldn't take apart my phone because I'm a clumsy dickhead and I know I'd break it. So I could take it to a phone shop and get it done.
Don't they?
But so there's these two schools really. That there are those that want to be able to manage their batteries. I've got a Gen 2 as well, which is it'll fire up to 504 watts. It's 60 amps at 8.4 volts. It's absolutely stupid.
Monster.
I'm not going to advise anybody take the screws off them. In fact, the screws are one-way screws on it. And by right, I don't think that that's safe at all for anybody to be able to go and run that kind of stuff unless you really know what you're doing. So I'm of the mind that make it so that people can't fuck around with it. If somebody goes to a concerted effort to do something with it, then so be it. Like you say, John, you let Darwin take over and be done with it.
You do. Judy Blue in the chat helping people out that if you put it in the microwave for 3 minutes, you get 100 extra charges. I've got a funny feeling she's making it up.
Do you want me to try?
No. Live, yeah. Live. We'll get some more viewers. Somebody post that somewhere. Craig's going to microwave a lipo.
Yeah.
Do a couple of 18650s as well, because that fixes them.
Yeah.
Don't boil them. Put them in the kettle, actually. Don't boil batteries, I was joking.
the VT200 lipo as well. There's been a lot of people that I've seen on various groups and stuff that have decided, because there's space in there, because there's a couple of screws on the top and the bottom, you pull that out and there's space where the lipo pack is, and people are putting bigger lipos in there, but as far as I know, they're in there for a fucking reason, and they're the size they are for a reason, because then if they do expand or if anything funky goes on, there's also space for them for the air to circulate around, and there's all that sort of stuff. But that's something that I'm sure we'll touch on another show. Yeah, but it's just that lipo safety. People are going mental because they're in a few mods now. They're going, oh well, fuck me, let's go down to the RC shop and see how big a lipo I can fit in this tiny little.
I think Craig touched on it, that Rick's going to go away and read up on lipos and give us a lesson in lipos on a show at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
as much as me, because I don't know shit. You know, I know it if I've got it, but if I haven't got one, I wouldn't know.
I just know they can be dangerous, and I think unless you're going to go really silly high wattage with vaping, I'm of the school you should stick with 18650s.
Yeah, I don't really mind too much, no. I think that if you mistreat something, don't expect it to bite you in the arse. That's the way.
Oh yeah, but then you've got it's that argument, isn't it, that I think everybody comes back to, and over again with vaping, is how much do you sort of protect the stupid? Because I think we were talking about this the other day between ourselves, that everybody makes mistakes. If you think you're not going to do it, even if you've been vaping for 3 years, you'll touch the button while you're building a coil, or you won't be thinking you'll flip a battery the other way around. You just put it down with one hand and pick it up with the other. It happens. It's knowing what you're going to do when that happens, or knowing what the warning signs are. They're really
lob it out the window
in your head. Yeah, exactly. But as long as you've already pre-planned exactly what I'm going to do, whatever the fuck that is, you've got to have that set in your mind. Yeah, and how do you protect dipshits? Because
I mean, you can't, can you? You can't. They
no.
Just get back. I mean, just.
Yeah, well, I've got to make. I've got a lipo bag. Yeah. What we gonna move on to after the lipos? I can't remember.
I've got something that can show you why you don't need them for DNA 200 builds.
Okay.
It's just a little showcase from the mod showcase page of a wicked mod. I just want to quickly show it to you because
go for it.
It's shit hot. So let me do some screen sharing business, see if that works.
This is the second challenge after the opening credits. This is the next one.
Here we go.
Yay!
It's a flask, but it's a homemade flask.
I like it. I think it's sort of steampunk flask. I think it's what
it's good, isn't it? I mean, yeah. I like the ingenuity of what he's done to make it. I mean, and he's chosen to go for 18650s, which means it'll get 133 watts, which is, in my eyes, more than enough.
Yeah, I agree.
And he'll probably vape. You know, if I had that, I'd vape it at 25 watts, and it'll last me 2 days. Those cells, pretty much. But he's just made a nice job of it, and I just want to show it off a bit. He started with a piece of sheet copper. Obviously rolled it around something, probably the actual battery tube that goes in there.
Yeah.
He's obviously soldered and you can't see it on there. He's soldered an end on and made it pretty. Cut his plate out for that. Cut his plate for his DNA 200, and shoved it all in.
Yeah,
and
nice.
I think it's just a very nice copper, and put a nice brass button on there.
Yeah.
A very nice job, and I just want to say good on you. I like it. Let's see some more mods like that, and I'll be happy to show them off on here because that's modding.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a working flask almost.
It is a working flask, yeah.
Nothing wrong with my flask.
Well done. That's Daniel Hagen, by the way. Daniel Hagen, good on you, fella.
Nice work. Well, I mean, you've got the Wismic Rouleau, which is 3 18650s, isn't it? And that's you're getting the full 200 from that bad boy.
Yeah, I mean.
And that's, I would sell my left testicle for one of those. To be fair.
You think you get you could have 3,000 Mars cells in that. That would last you 3 days, pretty much. 2.5, 3 days.
If anybody wants to start bidding for Dean's left testicle, just start in the chat, and if it gets anywhere near reasonable, I'm sure he'll accept.
We've got before the weekend before it gets emptied.
Yeah, we can move it to eBay a bit later if it starts getting hot.
Yeah, if it gets really high.
Yeah.
So practice vapors.
Yeah, they've got those, haven't they? I don't know very much of it. I think Rick's got the picture there. I'll let him do his. Ricky, you got it there. Do you want to drag it and drop it?
What's that? No, I haven't actually. Do you want me to find it?
It's in the folder where I left it for you.
Right,
If
okay.
you find that, do you want to find that?
right.
I was just going to go quickly. We were just going to talk about Artisan because I kind of spoke about my dinky little mod earlier. But there's actually, me being Artisan, there's 3 being sold next week, which anybody who knows Artisan is that's a lot being sold next week.
Yeah.
They've got Richard's giving 1 to the members. There's 1 up for members. Sorry, people on the list that have been on the list for a while to have a chance of buying, and then there's 2 more. One of which that Sean showed on Plumes on Monday night, Tuesday morning. There's a Stabwood one, and there's I'm trying to think which one the other one is.
It's the one.
Burr, that's it. He's got a Stabwood and 1 Burr, and they're both up next week.
Yeah. So yeah, go on then.
Let me get that back. Just did a full screen and couldn't do it properly, but here we go. Screen share.
But we don't know much at the moment. We don't know very much other than the fact that it's got a chatting with Angsty. They've got a tank on the way, and they've got a tube mod on the way as well, and the other one, which let me just find it. Really,
I like the look of that tank.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm interested to see how Praxis kind of do with it. So, but the Decimus has started landing over in the UK now, and they stopped appearing. That's the one that was really cheap. It was something £70 or something like that for the mod. But they bought something out as a survival kit, which I'm not quite sure what that actually means.
I don't get when any of they use this sort of lingo kind of thing. Just saying, I didn't understand that when I was looking at the shot earlier. I mean, I don't get much from that, I have to admit. But when the survival kit thing, I thought, what?
Yeah.
I don't understand at all. But it might be something that I'm not. I'm terrible. It might be something that everybody else gets, and I'm just going, yeah, okay.
What do you mean you haven't got a survival kit? How old are you?
Yeah.
Exactly. It'd be like Game of Thrones for me all over again. People
It
say,
might have
"You've got to see
specified
Game of
knife.
Thrones."
That Decimus though, I think that's a funny looking fucking thing because, like from the side that you're seeing there at the moment, it looks quite swish. But I think from the other side, from the panel side, it just looks a bit nasty.
But it's Praxis, and for the money, I don't think it's too bad really. I'll be interested in hearing what people got to say about it really, because I think.
Oh, definitely go for one of those tanks when they come over.
Yeah, I mean the tank is the thing that's kind of got me interested. I'm not much of a fan of something called the Volta because immediately your mind puts another V in it. So, I've got the Vulva survival kit. I mean, I could, I don't know what one of those is. It's been a long time, but it's. But Praxis are doing something a bit different, so
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. Sigali have also, Richard, Rick, you're here again.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Do you want to grab the
This would go nicely with the Volva, wouldn't it, as well?
Yeah, we've got the Sigali Fuck Eye, as we're going to call it. Right, which is, I think it's
Fuck Eye.
Yeah, the Fuck Eye. That one's called by Sigali. That's 200 watt box that uses two 18650s. Don't ask me how it does it, but I'm guessing it isn't 200 watts.
Yeah.
So wait and see what happens with that. I'm not quite sure what the hell they're thinking with Sigali sometimes. Sometimes they get it right, like the Sigali 75 watt, they nailed it, but.
Well, they started off doing they're the 100 watt, and the 100 watt plus, and even the 150, 100 watt plus, badass mods, really good mods.
I thought the 100 watt was. Do you know? I bought one for a holiday. I'm a bit of a. I'm not a mid-range kind of vapor, and I pick up. Every so often I just pick up a mod for holiday because I think it'll be a laugh, and if it gets a bit bashed up, it's fine. And I bought a 100 watt Sigali, and it was great. I gave it away, but after the
didn't they have the SX330 in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they never actually hit 100 watts unless you got fully charged cells and the right ohms.
Yeah, there was lots. There was niggles because it wasn't an expensive mod. So the pin was a twat. the adjustable 510 was just ridiculous, really. If you turned it slightly too far, it fell out, and you were looking at this. They gave you 4 spares because they realised how fucking stupid it was. But
I said
to chuck a K-fun on and it lasts sort of 2 days.
You were throwing one then.
Sorry, Dean.
Yeah, no, just on my 100 watt, I put a Fat Daddy on top of it, and other than puncturing the battery tray and having it live firing on me, which was a bit of a challenge. Other than that fixed that loose pin thing, because that was wank. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that was all, and the screws in the door. When you got it, the screws in the door.
Yeah.
I think I unscrewed them in the shop and threw them in the bin. What's the point of the magnet if you're going to screw the door shut?
Yeah. So so that's what we'll do. There's a bit of other stuff, but we're way after time now. So,
yeah, I think we're way off over time as well.
So we'll just touch on the B&Ms thing. Probably we wanted to have a bit of a chat really about when you walk into a B&M and you're the very first time and you've just come and started, you're thinking about vaping and you want to go in there, or you're looking to do a little bit of an upgrade and you've not done any rebuildables, or you've not played around with 18650s, you've just had your egos and all that kind of shit, which is what are the things you should look for when you kind of go into the B&M? What are the instant signs that say, this is a shithole, we need to get out of here fast? So what we wanted to do really was just spend 5 minutes just saying, right, these are the first things we do, and then we want it perfectly. Ideally we want somebody, or we want people to just post up horror stories or what things they look for when they go in a B&M, what the things that people said to them which have been outrageously stupid, when they've said, oh yeah, well, after a bit it'll go black because the oils will make it go, the oils will start burning.
Anyone who says the word oil in a shop, leave.
Yeah, go.
Yeah,
so
just leave.
what are the things that you look for then? Because John, you go in quite a bit. What are the things you look for then?
Well, mine. I was saying earlier. That I was saying earlier to you lot, really. That I generally, most vape shops, apart from my local one, I could cheat. My best man runs it, so I'm not going to really. It's really good. It's brilliant. That was when because we chat about stuff all the time with things with his shop. But what was I going to say? I think that there's a few that get me. If I go at a shop and they're mixing juice in the shop at the counter, just ridiculous. I'm just going to leave. I mean, the idea that's not a clean room, that's nothing. You're kidding. Fake AW batteries, which is something you can just go on Google and have a look and see, because they're so obvious it's stupid. And if they've got them all lined up, some of the things are things you'll pick up on the way, which is ludicrous, really, to say this. But if someone is selling clones as genuines, is a obvious one. And the other thing is, if the guy behind the counter is some sort of omnipotent being, you're in the wrong place. Because I've been vaping 3 years. Said Rick's been vaping 4 years, and Dean's been said on and off for like sort of 3.5 years, wasn't it, Dean? When you first started?
Yeah, kind of 4 years is when it all.
And it's sort of 1.5 years for Craig. And I know this absolutely because I know like really amazing builders and people who make mods and people who do this. No one knows everything, and and the only reason when people ask me how do you get good at building Genesis atomizers, I've done it 500 times. Do I know everything? No, I fucking don't. If the guy behind the counter says he does, he's just full of shit.
Yeah, I think the one that kind of I always look for is if you spot a K-fun in a shop, then go up to the counter and just ask them, is that an authentic or is that a clone? And you're going to get one of 3 answers. You're either going to get a clone, in which case you know what you're dealing with. They've been honest about it, and you can say, you can decide your own path if you want to do it or not. That's your call. The other answers that you're going to get are, I don't know, which just tells you that the employees just don't really give much of a shit about what's going on, and they're not bothered to look into it, or they're just disinterested. Or they'll say, yes, it's authentic. Now, everybody knows straight away that the only one place in the UK that sells authentic K-Funs is Creme de la Vape. It used to be Cloud9.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only place that sells them. So you can be pretty certain that if somebody says that that's an authentic K-Fun, they're lying straight away, and just leave. just walk away. You know, you've got no obligation to buy anything. Just turn around, find somewhere else. And
although some shops are doing the sort of the trades now a little bit more. If you've seen that, some people are doing that. So your rule of thumb is absolutely right. But yeah, I mean, if they say it's an authentic, someone traded it in when they were buying a.
No, just if you're doing that, then take the same approach, which is I'll just skip the middleman and go and do a trade myself.
Yeah.
You can go.
Loads of decent trade pages now. But that'd be great if people would write in the comments on YouTube when it's up. Obviously.
The other thing is we've got the Facebook group as well, so people.
Better on the Facebook group actually.
Join the Facebook group if you're not a member, and tell us your stupid stories or the funniest thing you've seen in a vape shop, especially if you're experienced or you've got a memory of when you didn't know and somebody told you something brilliant and you realised it wasn't true.
Yeah, because the other things as well, and it's this touches on SV and it touches on other places as well. That kind of have that approach that it's not fair. It's not fair to the person who's buying it. You know, because they don't know any better. They just don't know. They're trying to. They obviously care about moving on to the next step and doing rebuilding and doing other things, and to walk into a shop and get mugged like that, and then having.
Yeah, because this is the ideal own thing. There's no anti-clone thing on here. It's just there's nothing. It's selling something that's not what it says on the packet. You know. Yeah. That's not fair.
And running, you know, I run Derby Vapors as well, you know, and it's a small group that's kind of started up, and there's nothing worse than having to turn around to somebody who thinks that you've got this really, really great thing, and you say, no, don't you? And it's kind of, you can hear and see in the words that they type into the Facebook page, oh, that's a you know, and they say, oh, well, I was told it was an authentic, and it's like, nope, not in a month of Sundays is that an authentic. And it's a shame because they don't know any better. And if we can do something to try and help them avoid that, then I'm all for that. And then if they want to move on to other places and do, you know, your whole authentic thing, then so be it. You know, they can go and find that quite easily. You know, it's out there and people will help them do it. So
well, that'll be a good one to touch on if we get that Facebook thread going with everyone's.
People do that.
Stories, we can
sort of tell the funny one.
Yeah.
So, Dean, we'll start winding up. But Dean, you just want to give an idea of what people, you know, can expect coming up, really, then. And
well, what we want to do is try and obviously have the Ideal Home Show. It's going to hopefully be a winner for various people. You know, we're not going to concentrate on one style of vaping because the four of us are very different styles in how we vape. And we all like kind of different stuff. We're going to try and bring a little bit of flavour of that into future episodes, and at the same time, we want to try and dedicate some episodes to very certain subjects. So we'll have an episode for kind of like newbies, what's coming out as starter kits, what's going on in that kind of idea, and possibly giving more information about coils and, you know, the stuff that you need when you're beginning. And then, you know, on the other side we'll have a show where we're looking at more of the high end stuff, more of the gear that kind of either has that kind of aspirational level to it, or it's some of the stuff that my colleagues John and Craig may be playing with and probably just, you know, stick in a drawer and go, fuck it, it's only 500 quid, bollocks.
I'm more about atomised than mod, so you probably get more of that from Craig, to be honest.
No, I'm a fucking mug. That's what it is.
So yeah, so we want to really kind of try and do that, and if possible, and if it goes down well with you guys watching, what we'll try and do is we'll also try and kind of repeat that. So maybe every 5 or 6 weeks we'll have a similar kind of focus on that particular show. So so you'll know that if you're really waiting for the high end show, or if you're really waiting for the cloudy one, or you're really waiting for the B&M one, or whatever else, then it will give you that much.
The mod making one.
The mod making one, yeah.
I'm ripping the modders out there.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is as well, I'm sure at some point we'll touch on those third rails that exist within vaping of, you know, clones, authentics, the whole self-entitlement thing, and a bit of drama as well. But the one thing we wanted to try and do is we're not going to stop bringing out news about things that are happening as this is going on, you know, there are a few things that we know about and others know about that are taking place, and there's lots of noise and Reddit's exploding about it, Facebook's exploding about it. We'd sooner get shit right than do it quick. So
Absolutely.
if we hold back on something, we're going to try and get all of the bits together. We'll wait for the dust to settle a little bit, and then we'll look at what actually went on, who fucked up, how did they make it right, or in some cases, how did they just run off and nobody saw them again? You know, so I think taking our time is one of the things we want to do. So, and we don't want to create unnecessary drama. You know, we're not interested in us becoming the news. It's about, you know, just making sure that shit's right, and then bring it to you, and hopefully it can make some sense. So.
Absolutely. So hopefully we're going to bring stuff to everyone, and you know, as with anything else, if there is anything that you guys want us to discuss, I'm sure if you pop it on the Facebook page, we'll have a little look see and probably ignore it completely, but we'll have a go.
Yep, just post any shit you like on their recipes. I'm sure Gus has probably got a few memes lined up and a few. He said he was going to make a few posts as well. In response to how tonight's episode went, so I'll be interested in waiting to see what Gus has got to say. So.
And also, we're going to be having guests. We've got some exciting guests from all aspects of the vaping world, which are going to help with the subjects that we'll be on about that particular week. So we've got some pretty interesting ones coming up, which is pretty exciting for everybody, really.
Yeah, we'll try and get a few big palms on, I think. See what we can do.
I want to get a few mod makers on as well over the
absolutely
time, and they can show off their stuff a little bit and talk about vaping as well, of course.
Yeah, and that's the thing we've got in the UK and in Europe. You know, we've got some fantastic mod makers that just don't really seem to get the attention they deserve for the hard work they put in. So. You know, unless you're in certain vape groups or unless you're in that particular modders group or page or whatever else, you may not know anything about them. So if we can kind of shine a light on some really interesting stuff, then hopefully that'll benefit everybody.
Yeah.
Cool. Right.
Good work.
I think that about does it, doesn't it?
Well, I think we should at some point in a future episode, I've just realised, discuss, Craig, on your little lower third there, why you look like the guy from Maroon 5.
I've got no fucking idea who the fuck that is.
Totally the singer from Maroon 5.
I'm surprised you know, Dean. Do you know Maroon 5 are?
All over it, mate. That's because I'm hip and down with the kids.
Yeah. I'm kind of into dance music and all that kind of shit, so it's kind of, that's my past.
Right. Are we done then, gentlemen?
Yep.
We're done, I think.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
For watching.
Catch you next week,
See you
hopefully.
next week.
Let us know what you thought. Thanks, everybody. See ya. Have it large.
Bye.